Shalom, I am Dr. Ann Davis with Bible Interact, and we're having fun looking at the spiritual meaning of the Hebrew letters. Now, the letter Tsadi is really important because it's the first letter in the Hebrew word for righteous. And there's nothing more important in Scripture than understanding how to be righteous in God's eyes, because that's what allows us to come into His presence. We can't come into His presence in a sinful condition, only if we are righteous, which means without sin. So righteous means perfect without sin, so only God and His Son Yeshua are righteous because we live in this sinful world. Yet Scripture sees some of God's people as righteous, even though they cannot be perfect in this sinful world. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at who the righteous ones are. And of course, we want to be righteous if at all possible. There's the letter Tsadi there. The other one is the final Tsadi, where that horizontal line just drops down. If it's the final letter in a word, you have to use the final Tsadi. As far as the Paleo-Hebrew, the pictogram looks like a person bent over in righteous humility. And that, again, gives us the concept of righteousness. So the righteous ones are humble. And I'm going to do a little bit more about humble as we go on. So Tsadi is the first letter in the word righteous, the Hebrew word, and we're going to take a look at who are the righteous ones. But what does it mean to be righteous? There's the Hebrew word tzadik, and then you see the Tsadi is the first letter, tzadik. Well, it means free from sin, free from guilt. That's what it means. It means symbolically straight, and we talk about a straight path as opposed to a curved or bent path, which is a path of sin. So what it means is to be perfect with no imperfections. That's what righteousness means. But the problem is that only God and His Son are righteous. It's impossible for us to be completely free from sin without guilt, walking a straight line, and perfect with no imperfections. It's impossible. So let's just take a look here. There's God. God is righteous. The rock, His work is perfect, for all His ways are just. Just means that He discerns between what is right, what is wrong, and He always goes the right way. A God of faithfulness, so He holds to what is right, and without injustice. Righteous and upright is He. And also, Yeshua is righteous. Jesus has been tempted in all things as we are, yet without sin. So they are both righteous, all right? Now, how does this apply to God's people? Let me show you. This is very interesting. The Lord knows the way of the righteous. So there are people who are righteous in God's eyes. They may not be perfect, but they are righteous in God's eyes. Sing for joy in the Lord, O you righteous ones, praise is becoming to the upright. There are righteous ones walking among us who are righteous in God's eyes. Surely there is a reward for the righteous. There is a God who judges on earth. Now, that reward, based on all of my work, is to participate in the remnant. We have no way of knowing if we're going to be in the remnant. I was talking with someone once, and it was my understanding that there are people who think they're going to be in the remnant. If they think that, they're not going to be in the remnant, because that's not humility. Humility is to say, Lord, I'm doing my best. I would like to be in the remnant, but it's up to you to make the decision. And if I'm not in the remnant, I know that that's the best thing, that I will be with you at some point. But if I'm not in the remnant, it is because I'm not one that will participate the way you want participation in the next plan for your work, to bring all of your people into your presence. So if you think you're going to be in the remnant, that's pride. Okay? So there are people who are remnant in God's eyes. We know that Yeshua is remnant. Well, guess what? These are the ones who follow the Lamb wherever He goes. So the ones that are righteous in God's eyes are committed to getting to know Yeshua, to making Him Lord in their lives, to doing everything in their power to walk in the ways that He would have them walk. These have been purchased as first fruits to God and to the Lamb. The first fruits were a gift to God. and it had to be the perfect gift was the first fruits, and they were unblemished, and they were a gift to God. So we give ourselves as a gift to God by, in our heart, doing our absolute best to learn how to walk in the ways that God would have us walk, which is righteousness. Noah is the first one in Scripture who was identified as righteous. We read that Noah was a righteous man, blameless in his time. Blameless is the word that is used for the animal that was given in sacrifice. It had to be unblemished. It had to be perfect, and it was a gift to God. So Noah was a gift to God, and Noah walked with God, which means to walk by the Spirit, which we can do from time to time. We can't do 100% of the time, but those of you who realize that you're walking with God are maturing and growing closer and closer to God. All right? Yet Noah was not perfect. Noah began farming and planted a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk and uncovered himself. Uncovered is symbolic for exposing the sin, exposing your sin. So there was sin in Noah, and it was exposed, and he became drunk, and drunk, of course, is not right with God. So God saw Noah as righteous, even though he was not perfect. So I think it's in the heart and the desire, the true desire to do everything you can to make Yeshua your Lord and follow him and do what you know what is right with God. All right? So we can only strive to become righteous in God's eyes. Now I encourage you to look at the Bible Interact website. We have well over 1,000 teachings, and we're adding some every week. A unique look at the gospel is I want to draw your attention to that, because we're not teaching what's being taught in the churches. We're looking for the deeper meaning, and we have spent time recovering the ancient methods of how the people of the first century used not the Greek method that's found in churches today and Bible study groups today, but what was the Hebraic method of uncovering the depth of meaning, and we're applying that at a unique look at the Gospels. About Bible times is that's important to know the culture of the time. We teach both Hebrew and Koine Greek of the New Testament. Articles, we have courses not only on the languages, but we have courses on how you uncover depth of meaning in Scripture. And we have courses on examples of how to do that. Hebraic studies is not Hebrew. It's the Hebraic way of looking at things. Interviews are very popular. Podcasts, I love the podcast because I walk every morning and I listen to the podcast. I also listen to them when I'm in my car. There are a number of publications put out by Bible Interact authors, and the concept of the remnant is an important one. So if you're interested in learning these letters, you may be interested in learning how to read biblical Hebrew. And we have those courses on our website for beginner, intermediate, and advanced. So with that, I wish you shalom.